So yeah, a disaster. An absolute disaster for the Indiana. But like, Sid Colson's probably not going to play ball again till 2027. And she might be done. Like, Sid Colson might not play basketball, professional basketball.
The Indiana Fever arrived in Phoenix on Thursday night, carrying high hopes and championship dreams, ready to make a statement on the road. But instead of a thrilling victory, those dreams were brutally dismantled, not by their opponents, but by the relentless injury bug. This season, injuries have been devouring the Fever roster like an all-you-can-eat buffet, leaving the team scrambling for answers. The harshest blow came on this night, when the Fever lost not one, but 2 point guards, both sidelined with season-ending injuries in a single game. Yes, you read that correctly. 2 of the team's primary floor generals were taken out simultaneously, effectively ending their campaigns for the season and leaving the Fever's backcourt dangerously depleted. This cruel twist couldn't have come at a worse time, derailing the team's momentum and leaving fans to wonder how much further their championship aspirations can survive the brutal toll of injuries.
That's because Aari McDonald is hurt as well, folks. You could not have scripted a worse season than what we have endured so far. Fever lose Sydney Colson and Aari McDonald for the rest of the season. Our backup point guard's hurt, and now our backup's backup is hurt.
Sydney Colson, the seasoned 36-year-old veteran brought in to provide stability and leadership during Caitlin Clark's recovery, suffered a heartbreaking blow early in the game. Just minutes into the first quarter, Colson went down with a torn ACL, an injury so severe that it could keep her off the court for over a year. For a team already stretched thin, losing Colson was devastating. She was supposed to be the steadying presence, the voice of experience guiding the Fever through this turbulent stretch. Instead, her injury added another heavy burden to an already struggling roster, leaving the team without one of its most reliable playmakers and leaders when they needed her most.
Sid Colson, like, it did not look like an ACL tear. It did not look like an ACL tear when it happened. I was convinced. I was like, it's either a meniscus or it's a MCL. I was like, okay, we knew when she went down, she was done for the year. And I was like, okay, if it's something like an MCL, she's back for AU. She can make her money in the offseason.
Meanwhile, Aari McDonald, the former Arizona standout who had emerged as the Fever's unexpected hero this season, suffered a crushing setback in the fourth quarter. She broke a bone in her right foot, instantly ending her campaign and leaving the team reeling once again. With both Colson and McDonald sidelined, Indiana's entire point guard depth chart was suddenly wiped clean, a blank slate with the words "Help Wanted" scrawled across it in glaring red ink. The Fever were left scrambling, with no clear answers or experienced options to fill the crucial role of floor general. This double blow exposed a critical vulnerability in the roster and cast serious doubt on the team's ability to maintain any kind of competitiveness moving forward.
We lost 2 very, very competent players, including the starting point guard that was filling in for the other starting point guard. This is a disaster. This is a disaster. And what this does for a potential playoff push, I don't know, because, you know, I've seen people say, well, sign a guard or whatever. Well, there's salary cap implications out there too right now. I even saw somebody say we might have to waive Chloe Bibby to sign a point guard.
If you're enjoying this breakdown so far, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. There's plenty more to unpack. Now, let's dive into what these injuries truly mean for the Fever. First up, Sydney Colson. Despite being in the twilight of her career, she had been a steady and reliable backup point guard. She averaged modest numbers, around 2.4 points and 2.0 assists per game, but her real value came from veteran leadership and stability on the floor. Then came that devastating moment. You all saw it. Colson landed awkwardly on her left leg, and it didn't look good at all. Her leg literally gave out beneath her. It exploded under the pressure of the fall. The injury was confirmed as a torn ACL. For any athlete, that's one of the most severe injuries, often sidelining players for over a year. It's a heartbreaker. But then there's Aari McDonald, the real story nobody saw coming this season. Signed on a hardship contract after being waived by the Sparks, McDonald has been nothing short of a revelation for the Fever. Over 20 games, she's averaged nearly 10 points and 4.7 assists per game. She wasn't just filling minutes, she was filling the scorebooks and making an impact. Just days before the injury, she dropped a sensational 27-point explosion against Phoenix, reminding everyone what kind of weapon she could be. Losing both Colson and McDonald in the same game is a crushing blow, especially when McDonald was just starting to live up to her potential. It's not just about numbers. It's about leadership, momentum, and hope for the Fever season.
Sydney Colson tore her ACL. Folks, you saw her land on her left leg. It didn't look pretty. Her left leg completely gave out on her. It exploded underneath.
And here's the kicker. This isn't even the full extent of Indiana's injury nightmare. Caitlin Clark, the franchise's golden child, has been sidelined since July 15th with a groin injury, missing 10 straight games. That's 18 of the Fever's 31 games this season she's been out. The woman who was supposed to carry this team to championship glory has spent more time in street clothes than on the court, forced to watch from the sidelines while her teammates fight to keep playoff hopes alive. The Fever, a team that started the season with real championship aspirations, now face the Chicago Sky this Saturday with exactly 0 healthy point guards. 9 players, that's their entire active roster. A team built to compete for titles, now just hoping to survive.
Came in with a crazy role, right? Learning plays on the airplane, landing and playing her first game without turning the ball over at all. Not turning the ball over at all, y'all. Just came in and was a huge X factor for this Indiana Fever team. Caitlin Clark didn't even get a chance to play like that with Aari McDonald, man. I'm sick.
Because of WNBA rules, the Fever can't even sign a hardship replacement until after the Sky game, meaning they'll have to field a lineup that would make a high school coach weep. The cruel irony? This was supposed to be the year everything came together. After an aggressive offseason that brought in veterans like Dana Bonner, Natasha Howard, Sophie Cunningham, and Sydney Colson, the Fever looked like a legitimate championship-caliber roster. They brought back coach Stephanie White for her second stint, kept all-star Kelsey Mitchell in the fold, and surrounded Clark and Aaliyah Boston with playoff-tested experience built to win titles. My expectation is for us to try to win a championship, Clark declared before the season. Now, with injuries stacking up and no reinforcements allowed until after Saturday, that dream is on life support.
The Fever cannot sign a hardship contract until after tomorrow's game, which means tomorrow they have to play with 9 players. Now, it helps that the Chicago Sky also have injuries. So this game's going to be a little bit weird, but after tomorrow, they can sign a hardship contract because now that Aari McDonald and Sydney Colson are both out with injuries, we don't know the timeline of Caitlin's return. So, of course, the discussion is...
The numbers tell a brutal story. Sitting at 17-14, the Fever currently hold 5th place in the WNBA standings. They're close enough to taste the playoffs, but still too far from home court advantage to feel safe. Just 2 games separate them from the 8th-seeded Los Angeles Sparks, and a ticket straight out of the postseason. With 13 games left and their entire backcourt crumbling like a house of cards, every remaining contest becomes a must-win. And those wins will have to come from players who weren't even supposed to carry this kind of load. Caitlin Clark's response to the unfolding disaster? A simple, yet telling Instagram story. The team's injury update, captioned with just 3 words and 2 heart emojis. Love you guys. It's the kind of message you send when words fall short of the reality. Behind that composed social media post lies the frustration of a competitor who's never faced serious injuries before. Someone who went 4 years at Iowa and through her entire rookie WNBA season without missing a single game.
I got to be the one to tell you, look like the Indiana Fever could be signing another player. Basically, another hardship player could be on the way. Sydney Colson hurt. Aari McDonald hurt. Now we got to see who's available again at the point guard position. Again, we got to go through this again, y'all. This looked very familiar to the month of June. I believe was it June Caitlin, Sid, who else? Who else was hurt? Sophie was hurt. This looked like June again.
On Suburbs podcast earlier this week, Clark opened up about the mental toll of this injury-plagued season. It's been really hard to be active, play 4 games, and then be out again, she admitted. I'm not feeling my best, and it's frustrating considering how hard I worked in the off-season only to spend my time in rehab. The woman who is supposed to be orchestrating fast breaks and threading impossible passes has instead been relegated to the role of cheerleader, watching helplessly as her championship window potentially slams shut. She's reportedly begun full-speed running, but hasn't yet progressed to basketball activities. With soft tissue injuries stacking up, first a left quad, then a left groin, and now a right groin, the medical staff is understandably cautious about rushing their franchise player back onto the court. But here's the harsh reality. Even if Clark returns tomorrow, what exactly is she returning to? Kelsey Mitchell, Sophie Cunningham, and Lexi Hull are now being asked to handle playmaking duties they never signed up for. Mitchell, an off-ball scorer by nature, suddenly has to run the offense, while Hull and Cunningham are expected to facilitate, roles they've played only sparingly in their careers. It's like asking your accountant to perform surgery. They might have good intentions, but the skill set just isn't there.
Thing is, with the 2 of them out, if you guys don't know, they're able to get someone on a hardship, but if they want to replace 2 for 2, they have to cut one of them or cut returner. It is not possible for the Indiana Fever to go out with more than 10 players the rest of the year. They have 2 rest of season injuries on guaranteed contracts. They can't go out with more than 10 players the rest of the year. And the problem is the coach doesn't like playing 3 other players. The coach doesn't like playing KK, the coach doesn't like playing Chloe Bibby, and the coach doesn't like playing Bree Turner.
Fever's championship dreams, which seemed so tangible just months ago, are now hanging by the thinnest of threads. They've gone from being a sleeper pick to win it all to a team that might not even survive the regular season intact. The cold mathematics of professional sports don't care about potential or what could have been. They only recognize wins and losses, health and injury, presence and absence. Consider this. The team's record with Clark on the court this season is 8-5. Without her, they're 9-7. Those numbers suggest this roster has more depth than many give them credit for. But that was before losing McDonald and Colson in one fell swoop. Names being floated as possible reinforcements include veterans like Odyssey Sims, who averaged 8.7 points and 3.5 assists for the Sparks before being released. There's also Jalen Sheridan, recently cut by New York, or perhaps Grace Berger, the former Indiana University standout, currently on a 7-day hardship contract with Dallas. But these aren't plug-and-play solutions. They're band-aids on a wound that desperately needs surgery.
Being active and playing 4 games and then not, and not feeling the best, and then frustrated of how hard I worked in the off season, and then all I do is rehab and continue to do this process, and just trying to trust that the best I can. And obviously there's really frustrating days, and there's days where it's a little bit easier, and you're very, very motivated, and you're right close to the finish line of getting back and being back, and then it's not like I have a training camp to build up to playing my first game again. It's no, you're tossed into game 30. Go try to play well. It's hard.
The psychological impact of these injuries goes far beyond the immediate roster challenges. This was supposed to be the season that validated everything the Fever had been building toward. Clark's rookie year was about learning and adjustment. This season has been a harsh awakening to the brutal realities of professional athletics. She's gone from the unstoppable force who carried Iowa to consecutive Final Fours to a player struggling to stay healthy long enough to find any rhythm. The one who never missed a game is now sidelined for months, forced to watch as her team fights for survival without her. Saturday's game against Chicago is more than just another regular season matchup. It's a test of organizational resilience. Can a team with only 9 healthy players and 0 point guards compete against a Sky squad that, while struggling, still boasts Angel Reese and the firepower to exploit Indiana's weaknesses? The betting lines have the Fever as 11.5 point favorites, but those odds were set before anyone knew they'd be missing their entire backcourt rotation.
They don't lose a cent. So Aari and Colson don't lose a cent. if they get cut. They're just no longer on the roster. They don't lose 1 cent of money. And it means the Fever can bring in players. But we know the Fever aren't going to do it. If Alexa Philippou is talking about them not being able to sign a hardship, we know they're just going to sign a hardship. We know they're going to go out. Like, the Fever can literally get rid of the 2 of them, sign 2 new players, and go out with 12 players in the playoffs. But we know the Indiana Fever are going to go out with 10 players in the playoffs. Like, we just know they're going to do it. We know they're going to do it. Like, we know, like, look, they're going to be dumb for cutting. They're not, like, if anyone's getting cut, it's going to be Chloe Bibby. If anyone's getting cut, they're going to cut her. You just know it. For PR reasons. Could also cut Bree Turner. At this stage, she's got diplomatic immunity.
What makes this situation even more heartbreaking is the timing. The Fever had battled through Clark's earlier injuries, building chemistry and finding ways to win. They survived a tough start and positioned themselves as legitimate playoff contenders. Their Commissioner's Cup victory over Minnesota earlier this year proved they could compete with the league's best. All that progress now feels like ancient history. The championship talk that dominated preseason coverage has shifted dramatically. ESPN's Basketball Power Index still gives the Fever a 98% chance of making the playoffs and a 2.6% shot at the title. But those algorithms don't factor in the human element. The exhaustion, the pressure, the impossibility of asking role players to transform into stars overnight while the real stars watch helplessly from the bench. If there's a silver lining in this disaster, it's that the Fever's core remains young and under contract for future seasons. Clark is just 23, Boston is 22, and even Mitchell has several productive years ahead. This season might be slipping away, but the championship window isn't necessarily closed. Still, in pro sports, championship windows don't stay open forever, and opportunities wasted today don't guarantee tomorrow.
Man, they really gonna need Caitlin Clark to come back, but they don't want to rush her. You know what I'm saying? Aari McDonald has been really, really good for them, great for them. So that's definitely a hit. And Sydney Colson is, even though she don't play a lot of minutes, but her leadership, man, her contributions in that locker room is great. You know what I'm saying? And damn, this is a tough break for them. Because, you know, obviously they coming off winning 5 out of their last 6 games or something like that. And, damn.
The broader WNBA landscape doesn't wait for anyone to get healthy. The Minnesota Lynx continue their march toward the top seed. The New York Liberty are finding their groove. Meanwhile, teams like Atlanta and Phoenix are building momentum. Every game Indiana plays shorthanded is another opportunity for their competitors to pull ahead in the standings. The math of playoff positioning is unforgiving, and the Fever are running out of margin for error fast. Looking ahead to the rest of the season, the question isn't if Caitlin Clark will return. It's whether she'll come back to a team still in contention, or one whose season has already been defined by what might have been. The player who is supposed to be the face of the WNBA's growth is instead becoming a cautionary tale about the fragility of athletic careers and championship dreams.
This season is so doomed, man. It's so doomed. Like, they got the injury bug now, and first it was Caitlin Clark, then it was Sophie Cunningham, then it was Caitlin Clark again. Now it's Sydney Colson, and now it's Aari McDonald. This really sucks, guys. I have the hope is dimming, and this season is not looking good. It's like, not only we lost to the Mercury, to that bum Bonner, but they also, like...
Indiana Fever came into this season with high hopes and championship aspirations. They built a roster designed to compete immediately, a team that, on paper, looked ready to make a deep playoff run and maybe even bring home a title. But now, after just one devastating night in Phoenix, those dreams feel dangerously fragile. They're facing the very real possibility of limping into the playoffs as a fractured and battered squad, or worse yet, watching the postseason from their living rooms while their franchise cornerstone, Caitlin Clark, continues to recover from yet another soft tissue injury. This fall from grace didn't happen gradually over months or years. It happened in the blink of an eye, in the span of a single, heartbreaking game. And yes, Caitlin Clark is the kind of teammate every team needs. She shows love and support for her teammates, whether it's through heartfelt social media posts or cheering them on from the sidelines. But here's the harsh truth. Love doesn't win basketball games. Encouragement, while important, can't replace the skills and talent that literally walked off that court in Phoenix on Thursday night. Skills now sidelined by serious injuries. The Indiana Fever are about to find out whether heart alone is enough to weather the storm, or if this season will be remembered as the year where everything that could go wrong did go wrong. Welcome to professional sports, the ruthless world where championship dreams don't always die with a grand finale. Sometimes they're shattered quietly, painfully, with the snap of an ACL or the dull crack of a broken bone. The Fever's title hopes aren't officially dead yet, but they're hanging by a thread on life support.